Once upon a time, one particular man was making his way through Central Station on his way to UNSW when he passed by a monk who gave him a warm smile, to which he reciprocated. That warm smile from the monk had surprised the man, and he could not stop thinking about it, for he had presumed that monks were a stern lot. His name is Dr. Lim Ching Liang, and little did anyone know that his seemingly ordinary encounter would kindle the start of something very special. After experiencing a near-car accident, Dr. Lim sought a temple to thank the divine beings for the blessing. He found himself in a Buddhist temple in Chinatown that served a vegetarian dinner for just $1, followed by a chanting session. Initially, he was only interested in the food. However, a woman by the name of Miss Leong had persuaded him to stay back and join in the chanting session. He had found the session ever so musical and peaceful, and he became a regular at the temple. Not long after, Miss Leong invited him to attend a Dharma talk given by a monk. He had never been to a Dharma talk and was quite hesitant, but soon relented. On the day of the Dharma talk, he was surprised to find that the one who would give the talk was the very monk he had passed by that one afternoon at Central Station, Venerable Zhang Hui. Prior to the commencement of the talk, Dr. Lim bluntly told the Venerable that Dharma talks are brainwashing. Venerable Zhang Hui simply replied that, in Buddhism, we do not force anyone to accept. If you feel that it is not for you, you are welcome to leave any time. He was taken aback by this response and decided to give the talk a chance. Inspired by the teachings of the Buddha, he never missed a Sunday Dharma talk. One day on the UNSW campus, he met with a Muslim friend who was praying in a room with others. He joked with his friend that he would organize a chanting session every Friday next to his prayer room, just to distract him. But his friend encouraged him to actually start a Buddhist society on campus, as did the Venerable. He was told that he could get funding from KSOC, campus societies. Venerable Zhang Hui also offered to give Dharma talks for the society if no one would. Dr. Lim wrote a constitution, as was required, and managed to recruit 4 executive members: Dr. Lei Wai Chong and his sister Lei Mei Ching, and the Ong brothers, Dr. Keith Ong and Dr. Sien Ong. This small group of friends decided that their society's name, the University of New South Wales Buddhist Society, was too much of a mouthful. After much deliberation, they settled on the name Unibuds, for they were the university's budding Buddhists. Dr. Lim then attended a meeting held by KSOC for any objections to the formation of Unibuds. To their dismay, many groups on campus were opposing the formation of the society. KSOC, on the other hand, was strongly supportive of having Unibuds on campus. Perhaps it was because they liked the idea of having a fresh new society, a society that would preach moderation. The president of KSOC, along with his fellow members, walked out of the meeting, rendering it short of a quorum and thus forcing the meeting to an end. That very day, KSOC had saved Unibuds from rejection by KSOC, and Dr. Lim and his friends were forever grateful towards them. But this was not the extent of their help. In fact, at the second KSOC meeting, KSOC had lobbied enough societies in the university to admit Unibuds into KSOC. Thus, in the year 1981, Unibuds became official. After some celebration, it was time to get back to work. Mr. Ui Sun Chuan, Dr. Lim's flatmate and an architecture student, was tasked with the design of the society's logo, and they decided to go with the Dharma wheel, which represents the Noble Eightfold Path in Buddhism. Next was the discussion of which branch of Buddhism to promote. In the end, it was agreed that Unibuds would remain as an independent and neutral Buddhist organization. This new Buddhist society sought guidance, advice, and support, so they invited two venerables to become the patrons of the society, namely Venerable Zhanghui and Venerable Fra Mahasamai, now called Venerable Chaokun Samai. In the early years of the society, they struggled financially. Stalls were set up on campus so that they could sell vegetarian meals to raise funds. Unibuds also held events called Buddhist Nights, or what we're more familiar with today as Bodhi Night, to help fund their society. And unlike the Bodhi Nights today, there were no sketches or multimedia animations back in those days. They distributed vegetarian food, had patrons give speeches and Dharma talks, and had a choir perform. Unibuds were lucky to receive donations from some people and organizations. One of these donators was Mrs. Lee, the owner of the House of Chow restaurant, who donated food for the society's occasions. Dr. Lim could never forget Mrs. Lee. She would ask him to meet her at her restaurant and would take out bags of coins and notes, a portion of the tips collected in her restaurant, and she would give it to him as a donation to Unibuds. But more memorable to him was the day of the Unibuds Buddhist exhibition at the Sir John Clancy Auditorium in UNSW. The exhibition aimed to introduce Buddhism through the expression of art, to showcase main concepts of Buddhism, different branches of Buddhism, and the life of Buddha Gautama. Mrs. Lee had lent her items for display at this event. However, troubled about the lack of security of the open layout, Dr. Lim was worried that Mrs. Lee's items may be lost or stolen if not guarded properly. Dr. Lim still remembers her response to this day. "Don't worry about the items you borrowed for the exhibition. If they are still mine after the exhibition, then they are mine. If the items are not mine after the exhibition, treat it as a gift to the people who have taken it." Dr. Lim was inspired by the compassion in this woman, a true practicing lay Buddhist. The following years of Unibuds was not without struggle, but eventually, through perseverance, their finance improved, and the following years saw the rise of a seedling that has now bloomed into what we call today Unibuds.